Welcome. Y'all ready? It's going down. Ladies.
Akisha Lockhart here for She's Got a Show. And you all just have no idea. Like, when I leave here, I'm going to go home, lock the door, close the blinds, and scream and jump up and down, because this is truly, like, this moment, being able to sit down with someone, an actor like yourself, that has done some incredible work. Like, this is what this show is all about. So it's such a blessing. Thank you, Andre, for being here with me today and us on the show. So you all, now that I've got that out, you all know his face, Bubbles, or you also may call him Bubs, from The Wire, underrated show, one of the all-time best series in television, and he's currently has a recurring role on Empire. So without further ado, how are you doing? And thank you so much for your time.
Oh my God, I would love to be okay, so all you talk shows out there in the cable and television world, that's how I want to be introduced. Take note. Put it in the books. I'm not going to do your show unless you introduce me like that. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
That means the world.
No doubt. Anytime my presence means that you're going to go home, close the door, and shut the blinds and scream, that sounds fantastic. I mean, that means I made it. That sounds great. So I'm glad I did it for you.
Yes. So what I'm going to do, Andre, is if I could give you a little bit of a backstory before we get into the questions. So if you don't mind, so just be patient with me real quick. Sure. So we're in season 4 of my talk show, and I'm not from Chicago. I'm actually from St. Louis. So I've lived in Chicago now for a few years. And as a journalist, I feel like it's my duty to show Chicago the other side, because nationally, I know you're not from Chicago. You're from New York. You're from the Bronx, to be exact. So nationally, Chicago looks like a war zone. It looks very, very bad. So as a journalist, I'm living here. I appreciate the city and the people. I said, you know what? I'm going to theme season 4, and I'm going to just interview people, Chicagoans, that inspire me and that are chasing their dreams. Well, then you came into my life. Right, you came into my life, and you threw a monkey wrench on me, right?
So you know what? You can save this. You can save this interview.
Wait. Okay, hear me out. So you threw a monkey wrench, but a good one, because I was like, okay, well, this is how we're gonna make this work out. So we're gonna get a perspective from someone that's outside of Chicago, that's been living here for a little bit of time while you're working on, again, another hit series, Empire. This man is working. So I want to know, from an outsider's perspective, what is your honest opinion of Chicago and the people that you have encountered from here?
Okay, well, being here since August, off and on, I recognize that Chicago, what do you call yours? Chicagoans, they're very proud of Chicago. I mean, the first time they recognize my voice or recognize my face, and they know I'm from New York, the first thing they tell me is, well, our city is cleaner. I mean, we got a cleaner city, and I will give you that. It's a much cleaner city because you got alleys. See, in New York, any alley, we'll build some property and raise the rent. So, we got rid of the alleys for space. I think, it's. I was just telling you, one of your co-producers, that it's a good marriage between, most of my work is New York and L.A., and it has the look and the feel of a city, but the people and the energy is more laid back, like L.A. And I think that's a perfect marriage for somebody to be able to come here and work, not get too stressed out, enjoy what they're doing and who they're doing it with, as long as you can do it before winter, because that shit is crazy. I don't know if I can curse. I'm an HBO type of guy, Empire. I don't know if I can curse, but there's no other way to put how this winter feels, but that shit is crazy. I mean, like I said, any city that names its wind the Hulk, we might as well call it Chicago Game of Thrones. So, that's the only thing that I'm getting used to. Got the long johns on right now.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing here in Chicago. You're representing, again, your city very well, being a New Yorker, and then coming here. And, I like your observation. I like it.
Now, there's one thing you said about, the one thing that I guess I will feel, a little apprehensive to say is war zone. Because I don't know. I mean, I guess coming from the Bronx, I guess I have a familiarity about certain neighborhoods or certain, feel. But the word war zone, it bothers me because I feel like that's a title they put on us to make us feel like we are prisoners of war. I know that it has its rough patches and hard times, but, I see what was most important to me especially when we were doing The Wire in Baltimore. You know, as long as you still feel that people are trying to make it better and people are trying to, you know, raise the standard of how they live. You know, that's the one thing that you gotta hold on to. And Chicago has that soul of fighting and trying to make their city a better place.
Thank you. Yeah. So I want to rewind a little bit, and before we get into some things that you're working on currently, and The Wire, of course, but you got your start on Broadway. So I want to know. Yeah. I would like to know how those, or at least you were on Broadway. How did that experience help you with your career and where you are now?
I did start. I would say when you say the word start, I started off Broadway, which was close to Broadway, but I wasn't singing and dancing. And then back in the day, you couldn't get on Broadway unless you were singing and dancing. So most of my stuff was off Broadway. I think I did one thing, the 24-hour plays that was at the American Airlines Theater on Broadway. And, you know, for an actor or any artist, that stage and that, you know, close relationship with the audience right there, there's nothing like it. And it's a special confidence and a special presence that allows you to say, you know what, if I can do this, then I can achieve any dream that I want. And the one thing that they can't teach any artist in any realm is presence. And you have to recognize and know whether you're willing to put that presence out there for judgment. So it was a full education on not just the artistry, but also the industry. And if you're willing to deal with judgment, failure, not working, unemployment, poverty, if you're willing to deal with all that and still say, I want to step in the spotlight and on that stage, you know, that gears you up for any type of battle. And in show business, you know, the one thing that most actors will tell you is perseverance, because it's a long time. It's peaks and valleys. And I think, you know, being in New York, doing the off-Broadway circuit really prepares you for the peaks and valleys.
Well, that's actually perfect. A perfect segue to my next question. So you had to actually audition for the role of Bubbles on Wire 5 times. I was going to say that 5 times. And I think that, you know, for anybody out there, that must be extremely taxing mentally, physically, emotionally, all that, because it's the rigmarole of the business. So I just want to know, for everyone out there and myself, just talk about what that process was like, finally, like auditioning for that role and then finally landing it.
All right. Well, I guess, you know, to put it best, my mom had told me a long time ago when she found out, you know, that I was really going to, you know, I guess, go on the journey of becoming an actor. And she said that you have to enjoy the whole journey, not just the end result. You better enjoy everything, because that end result might not live up to that anticipation or that expectation that you put on as you struggle. So you better enjoy all the letdowns, the rejections, the struggle, as long as you still love the craft. And when it came to The Wire and Bubbles, you know, I had just finished doing a couple of off-Broadway plays, and my manager called me and said, you know, they want you to come in for an HBO show, which at that time was hot. I mean, HBO had Sopranos, Oz, it was big. You know, Sex and City wasn't for me, but anyway, yeah, it was big. And you know, when I heard they wanted me to come in and play a junkie, and my character name was Bubbles, I turned it down. I said, no, I don't want to play a junkie. I felt like it was a stereotype that, you know, I didn't want to be a part of to, you know, continue. And my manager was the first one to put the challenge on me, like, yo, it's not an offer. They ain't offer you the job, though. They want you to audition. And if you want to get in the business, people have to meet you and know that you can act. So why don't you go in there, show them what you can do, and then if you get it, turn it down then. I dare you. So that's how it started. You go in, you audition for the casting director, you leave, and you feel like, you know, I did my job. You know, whatever happens is in God's hands. You get a call back. Now you're meeting a producer and a director. You get another call back, another producer, another call back. And, you know, at that time, it starts to get stressed out, because then you really, you know, it's like the dangling carrot. You really want it. Now when you go in, you really want it, and you're wondering, what do I do? Do I have to do something more? Do I got to do something less? Like, why aren't they just calling me and saying I got it? And, you know, you're staring at the phone. Like, you're stressed out. You know, you're not able to enjoy other things within your life, because now this thing is your life, and you want it that bad. So, yeah, it was stressful. It was, you know, very taxing. And then they gave me the call and said, yo, so you're the guy in New York. You're the one. They love you. but now they got to go to California. Now they got to go to Atlanta. And so it was things like that that made you go, all right, well, you know what? At the end of the day, like I tell all the actors, you know, that come up and ask questions, up and coming actors, you know, you just, as long as you leave the room feeling like you put everything out on the line, you know, then you're able to walk away and say, I did my job. The rest doesn't matter. And, you know, once I got the call, you said I got the part. Yeah, it was a celebration, a big ass celebration, and it's been, you know, it's been a blessing ever since. After that kind of experience, and then the experience of what The Wire did and is now, everything else is just, you know, a cherry on top.
Yes, and I love your mom's advice. She's a very, very wise woman. So please tell us the story. And this is hey, she's got a show. Andre.
You gotta pay Bubbles for these type of
Andre. Pull it back in. Pull it back in. We gotta pull it back in. So a lot of people, you know, they strive to get a role like what you got. So you get it. And then you have to, I can only imagine with all the intensity of playing an actor, a character like Bubbles, trying to figure out when to turn it on and off. So I want you to tell a story about when you actually decided to keep the role of Bubbles on and someone gave you a street Oscar. Talk about that. Talk about that. Tell us about what happened with that.
See, I knew that was coming. It was one of those things. It was on set in Baltimore, and at that time, this was like one of my first, you know, real big roles in television, and you know, I didn't want to lose it, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, the character I'm playing was fully layered and fully focused, because you're talking 18-hour days. So I was, you know, I won't say I was full method, but I was, you know, walking the walk, talking the talk, and really trying to stay in character on and off set. So on the way to my trailer, you know, I guess I was really looking like a fiend. I was really giving that essence, and you know, another person came up to me and said, "Yo, they're giving out free testers. You look like you need a hit," and handed me some drugs. And you know, I thought at first he just shook my hand, and I didn't really know what was going on. And then when I got in my trailer, opened my hand, I had a little one-on-one, and I had to make a decision. I had to say, you know, am I going to go full method? Because I know they can't say I look fake now if I really, you know, partake in taking the drug. But I knew that I would be good for only one take, and there has to be a division between art and real life. And if you're really as good as you say you are, then you wouldn't be. You should be able to do it without, you know, going that far. So it was always, I kept it for a while as a testament. I kept it for the run of the show, 5 years, just to remind me and show me to trust my instincts, trust my preparation. And I don't know what happened to it. It disappeared after that. I don't know.
As long as you didn't take it, we're all good. So we're all good with that. That's right. I love that. I do. And I think that it's amazing how, just like what you were saying again about your mother and how she was telling you about the journey, and how those little gems that happen, just like with that, you probably would have never expected for that to feel so good, even though it was obviously a bad thing, drugs, just say no. But the fact that you were so into what you were doing and someone recognized and thought you were actually this character is truly a testament to your skill set. So how did you keep your spirit up? Because you did say earlier, at the same time, you know, that The Wire was running, you also had Sex and the City, you had The Sopranos. So when you're on this show, and obviously you think it's good because you're on it, but it's taken a while for a lot of people to catch on to what's going on, and you have those other heavy hitters. And even though you guys are all on the same network, how were you dealing with that? Because The Wire didn't really start popping until years later, like it really catch on. How did you deal with that?
Well, you know, again, you know, we speak of what is the definition of success and what is the definition of just, I guess, winning, and so, for lack of a better word, and being on HBO with that resume of great shows, Sopranos, 6 Feet Under. You know, we definitely wanted to have our just due, but at the end of the day, when it wasn't happening from 2000 to 2005, you know, we weren't really watched, not by the masses. Right. You know, luckily for us, you know, our people was watching, our hood was watching, so we was getting street love all day, and that, you know, that's amazing, and that's, you know, the first line of, who we are trying to reach, because it's our story. And to be able to say or be a part of something that was, I guess, projecting our story from our point of view that we hadn't seen on TV was a reward in itself. And we always say, or I always say, the best character in The Wire was Baltimore. And to be around those people and to see their faces as we're telling something about what's going on in the city, the importance, the relevance, the inspiration that we felt like we were doing with this show was, enough to keep us going when everybody else was ignoring us. I find it funny. I always tell people, in 2010, I'm driving my little Yaris. Yaris, pick up some donuts, and I look at in a paper at like a windshield, and it says, The Wire is known as one of the greatest shows ever. I don't know where the hell they were. They weren't around in 2000, 2005, but, there's something special, and there's something, really, really magical about us as humans and our humanity and our quest to hold on to humanity, that this is the show they're talking about now still. And I'm not hearing that many people talk about Sopranos or Sex and the City or 6 Feet Under. Great shows, but they're talking about The Wire because I think The Wire was one of those shows that was trying to do more than entertain. It was trying to educate. It was trying to inspire. And with all that said and done, it's more of a testament to the audience than it is to us, because we know how important those stories were.
So was there somebody when you were actually filming The Wire that surprised you that you found out, watched it, or years later, or a year later, whenever after, was there anybody that you're just like, oh my goodness, I didn't know such and such was watching the show? Anybody that surprised you?
Yeah, I mean, when we were all sitting around, we used to stay in the hotel. Most of the actors used to just hang out with each other, just to stay focused, and it was almost like theater. And I think we found out back in the day, early, when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were running, and I guess in their campaign they were on 60 Minutes or something, 60 Minutes or Charlie Rose, I don't know which one it was, but they asked Hillary Clinton, in between the time of your race and your campaigning, what do you watch? And she said American Idol. And, everybody was clapping. And when they asked, President-elect Barack Obama what he's watching, and he said The Wire, I mean, we flipped out, because we kind of felt like, we didn't think, and not the again, pass judgment on the audience, but we didn't think somebody of his stature, and especially in what he's doing and how he's trying to, that looked like it's a crazy work day. To find time and sit down, I would just close my eyes and go to sleep or watch a movie or something. But to hear that he's fully invested in watching The Wire, he has his favorite character, Omar, like he knows the characters' names. Again, that was another gem that made us, realize that we might not be getting nominated or be on everybody's mouth, but there's certain people that, when you hear the show that you're on coming out that person's mouth, you're like, oh yeah, we made it.
I love that. I do. Someone I was surprised to find out is Amy Winehouse. She was a fan of the show too. That's dope. Wow. That's dope. Amazing. Yes. Amazing. And obviously the president goes without saying that is as well. Well, when I think about, I've heard the term, I don't know if you have, wire pedigree. And I feel like that term it resonates with you all. Like there's a pedigree, there's a standard that you all as actors, you set when you all were on The Wire. And it was a lot of, at the time, there was some no name, there were some people on the come up that no one had ever seen before. But I think the reason why the show was so successful, at least I'll speak for myself, is because you all just came to work like blue collar workers, like grab the lunch pail, get the hard hat, like you guys are coming and you're bringing it every single time you hit that screen. And it was so refreshing. And even though I wasn't from Baltimore, I already told you all where I'm from, and I knew nothing about that life, but it was just like, I believed you. Yeah. And I know I watched in an interview that you said you're a fan of Rocky. And I want to know, going back to the whole pedigree thing, you all have stemmed from actors from The Wire, have gone on to do extraordinary things. And I think it's because of that hard hat work ethic, blue collar worker work ethic. And I know you're a fan of Rocky. What do you think about like a Michael B. Jordan, who Willis, from The Wire on there, and now you see him playing a role in playing Creed. Like, when you see that, I don't know if you've even seen the movie, but what do you think about someone like him and, you know, some of your other co-stars like yourself that have gone on to do amazing things?
Well, you know, first, you know, of course, shout out, we're family, you know, 5 years together, and Michael B. Jordan was one of the first main characters that were killed in The Wire. Spoiler alert. Wallace was an important character. And, you know, I think, like I said, we all used to hang out together, and we all, I think, made it a point, or David Simon, Ed Burns, the creators of the show, also made it a point for us to really understand that it wasn't about egos. It wasn't about counting how much time we have in front of the screen. It was about the story. And story comes first. And what the story is about and the people that we're telling the story from that point of view is more important than anything we can do in our career. If you don't give yourself into understanding that I'm not going to look good unless you look good, you know, we're not going to look good unless the story is written to a certain level. You know, it just all enhanced lightning in a bottle and created the success for The Wire, but also created a certain standard that we want to carry in everything that we do. So when you see somebody like Michael B. Jordan, you know, going from The Wire to Friday Night Lights, Parenthood, and then really getting into Fruitvale Station and understanding the projects he's picking or the projects that are coming to him and how he's, you know, stepping into the characters, Idris Elba, Stringer Bell, the way he came from The Wire to Sometimes in April. And, I mean, Beast of No Nation was incredible. Shame on you, Oscars. Should have been nominated. You know, Lawrence Gilliard, Dominic West on The Affair. I mean, it just shows that we're all still holding on to the thing that we fell in love with when we did The Wire. Stories first, and be true to your character. And, yeah, come into work and get the job done. Everything else is, you know, the cherry on top.
So when I think about, so I equate The Wire with like Straight Outta Compton. Great writing, acting is phenomenal, but it's not getting any of the recognition that a lot of us feel like you should as far as award shows and that thing. So you just kind of touched base on that, obviously, with what you said about the Oscars. How do you feel about that, about the fact that you all really didn't rack up any, I mean, maybe you did, I don't know, but I don't think you guys really racked up any hardware. And then you have, like, again, something like a Straight Outta Compton in that same situation.
You know, I mean, yeah, The Wire, we didn't get nominated. It wasn't like we even got the hardware. We never even got into the room. And, you know, at first, of course, you're coming into the game and you're hearing people talk about the show, you know, and saying that they love the show. The show is incredible, it's important, but we're not getting into the room for the nominations. It depends on, you know, how you look at or how you define success. Like my mom said, you know, I'm enjoying the journey. There is no finish line. There is no award that's going to even equate or equal to the joy that it gives me when somebody stops me in the street and says, I love your work. When somebody says they want to go in a room and close the door and shut the blinds and scream. I mean, that's better than a statue, if you ask me. But it's beyond our control. We only do what we do for the love of the craft. And, you know, if at some point we get in the room, you know, it's there for a podium to thank your mama and thank your friends, you know. But other than that, it doesn't validate, you know, the work that we put in and the work that we do. So, you know, time will tell. I don't think we have to, you know, do anything or apologize for anything. They seem to be now looking, you know, I think they look more and more embarrassed at their own mishaps. And I guess they talk about change. But, you know, we all know change going to come sooner or later.
So we have a lot of our viewers, they are dreamers. They aspire to be in a lot of the positions of the guests that I have on the show. So can you give all those aspiring actors out there and even other people that are in the arts entertainment industry advice about what do you do financially? Because like what you said, as far as, you know, you're going on these auditions, you may or may not land a gig. Does somebody help you? Does educate you on, okay, this is Andre, this is how you do your finances, this is how do you take care of that? How do you stay on top of it?
Well, you know, I will say this so that it doesn't come across preachy or anything like that. I didn't take care of it. Like I said, there's peaks and valleys, and when people start understanding that this is, you start getting, paid for what you do, and you see money that you hadn't seen before, and at all, you do go a little crazy. You do go a little, oh my God, and start going on shopping sprees, or start lending money, or you can go through that, and that's, I guess, for a lot of people, the only way you learn. Like you tell your kids, you learn from your mistakes. But I can say in my journey and from my mistakes, I would say, don't spend outside your means, save your money, blah, blah, blah. But you have to really understand that in the come up, you have two sources of income. You have a job and you have a career. And you need jobs. You need some jobs to pay for headshots, pay for schools, pay for transportation. So don't ever feel like you are, selling out, or you're not truly believing in your dream if you have to take a job. That's just a step. Now, once your job turns into a career, then you made that choice. But if you know you have this dream, you need jobs. So don't ever feel like, I'm not gonna, I don't want to give up my dream. I'm not gonna take a job. You're just making it harder for you. Two, and when I was coming up, I had a lot of really, really, really great friends. And I always tell everybody in the entertainment business on the come up, make sure you have a good support group. There were times, there's nothing worse in my experience than being broke in New York City in your 20s. You're in the club, you can't buy a girl a drink, you can't do anything. But your friends were there for me to believe in me and say, look, Trey, we got you. We'll make sure you can eat. We'll make sure you get to hang out with us. You just make sure you pay for class. You just make sure you get them headshots. So that's why I always say, when every part of my success, I'm not doing it by myself. I'm there with a lot of family and friends in spirit that helped me along the way. Sometimes believe in me more than I believe in myself. So make sure you have a good support group. Don't be afraid to take a job, and definitely understand. In the peaks and valleys, there's gonna be time when you're working a lot. There's gonna be time when you ain't working at all, and you gotta really make the choice of, do I want to have a nest for the days that I'm not working, or do I want them new Jordans? And that's the choice you got to make, and you will realize whether you made a mistake or not. But I'm not going to be the one to say, this is how you have to do it, because everybody's different.
We're going to get to what he's currently doing on Empire, which is another hit series that is so wonderful to see such, again, a hardworking, great actor like himself to be a part of is phenomenal. So I want to know if you can let us know what that call was like, because I heard that it wasn't that the role that you play, Thirsty, correct, lawyer, you didn't audition for this. You got a call saying, like, this is your role, right? This is you.
That's right. This is what they call in the actors world, I got an offer. An offer to play the role, no audition necessary. And that was, again, these are the things like the guy giving me the street Oscar, or President Obama saying I like The Wire. These are those gems that make you understand or validate that you're on the right path, that what you're doing, you're good at, and you're being recognized for it. Danny Strong, one of the creator of Empire, co-creator of Empire, called me up, and I was in the midst of casting for an independent film that I had shot, and I now shot, but called me up and said, listen, we got this role for this lawyer, we'd love for you to play the character. And I kind of didn't hear him. I was like, listen, I don't know if I got time to audition, I'm doing this. No, it's not an audition. We know your work, we've seen your body of work. It's it's yours if you have the time. And that feels great. Again, that validates that somebody out there is watching and saying, hey, you're good at what you do, and that always feels good. So they offered me the role, and I thought I was going to New York, but I'm in Chicago, which is movie magic, and it's a fantastic feeling, and it's one of those things that I will share and remember amongst the rest of my wonderful future in acting.
So on She's Got a Show, since this is your first time on,
yes,
we like exclusives. Can you give us some kind of surprises or any secrets that you can give us exclusive something about Empire here, your character, anything? Tell us something.
Well, we come back March 30th. Stay tuned. It's fantastic. It's going to be wonderful craziness. So-and-so is going to probably knock out so-and-so, and so-and-so is going to curse out so-and-so, and so-and-so, so-and-so is going to do some dastardly stuff. And Thirsty will be there to clean it up.
You only get that kind of stuff right here on She's Got a Show, exclusives like that. So So we're gonna conclude this interview here because this man, he's busy. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So we appreciate your time, but I don't want to hold you very much longer. Okay. But I will do this. Yes. I want to do rapid fire, but I only have one question. So it's not questions. It's just one question. I know you're a fan of hip hop. So I got to answer it fast? Because you said rapid. I want the first thing. I want the first thing off the top of your head, but it's got to be quick because you're busy. Yes. You're the one who's busy that's got to go.
I am busy. I'm hoping to get a ride to the mall. That's right. We ain't forget. I'm getting a ride. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting a ride to the mall for after this. Okay, yes.
Okay, so this is the question. Yes. Because you are a fan of hip hop, you're from New York. That's right. Name your top 5 all-time favorite rappers. Oh my God! And you know them. I know you know.
I do know them. They do interchange every once in a while because of time spent and as years go by, new people come up and they're great. But if I went to top 5, being a New Yorker, being from the boogie down, not in any order within the 5, but KRS-One is in top 5. Then I have to go all the way to Brooklyn because I got to give Brooklyn its love. As a Bronx boy, it's hard, but I got to go Notorious Biggie, B.I.G. is 2. Then I got to go to a person who I felt like before the others was the guy with the rough lyrics and the energy. We got to be Rakim is 3. The one who blew up the hip-hop culture and put it on his ass as far as even hip-hop being a little bit more diverse would be Eminem because he got the nod and nobody could really challenge him or dare to because you lose M, your career might have been over at that time. And then number 5, there ain't that many MCs that can go into their late 40s and still be relevant. So, I mean, and, got the baddest be in the game wearing his chain. I got to go Jay-Z, Hova. So those be my top 5 with a lot of 6 men awards, but that's the top 5 for right now.
Wonderful. So this is from the bottom of my heart, my team and I, and the people, the good folks at Garrett's Popcorn, one in particular, Revlon, thank you so much for this. I wanted to give you something from us, a little something from the city of Chicago. You are appreciated from the bottom of my heart. Like, sincerely, thank you for doing this. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to make time for it.
I still want my ride, though. I'm still getting a ride? Uh-oh.
I took an Uber here. I took an Uber here.
I knew it. No,
you got to pull it back in, Dre. We got to pull it. Can I call you Dre?
You can call me Dre, of course.
Okay, Dre, we got to pull it back in because we're supposed to be having a moment here.
Okay, sorry.
So.
I felt uncomfortable because it was so wonderful.
Okay, so can you hold this microphone for me while I do something?
Sure.
Hold it.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Okay. I'm not really going anywhere, but hold on.
This is very interesting. This is kind of scary. Oh my God! See, popcorn for me. Oh my God! This is for I love it.
This is for you.
Thank you. And look, it says Chicago. Chicago will be my 3rd home. It's first is New York, then it's Baltimore, and I will give Chicago my 3rd home. L.A., your business, baby. You give me the heat, but this is family. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem. And yeah, again, shout out to Garrett. Thank you all for doing this and helping us make this happen, Revlon. So as you guys know how we do, I'm Akisha Lockhart. You know me. Who are you?
I'm Andre Royo, a.k.a. Thirsty for Now. Coming back to you March 30th, Empire, Fox. Let's get it going.